Welcome back to Usapang Bayan. Kasama pa rin natin ang Senatorial Aspirant, Valenzuela Representative Gatchalian. Rach, would you like to ask another question?
Sir, you are from NPC, and
Yes.
NPC chose to endorse Senators Grace Poe and Cheese Escudero. Why is that so?
Actually, as early as the October of last year, marami kami mga members already supporting Senator Grace and Senator Cheese. We believe in their advocacy, and we believe that they have the same principles as our party, the NPC. We believe in their integrity, and that's, for me at least, no, as an NPC member, two very important things in terms of leadership: integrity and your advocacy. And these are the things or the qualities that we saw in the tandem.
Do you think that NPC endorsement would give them an advantage
Yes.
this coming election?
NPC is the second biggest party in the Philippines. So we have 2,400 incumbent members, another 2,000 coming in the fold. So we have 4,000 candidates spread across the nation. So this will give them instant machinery, instant campaigners. And most importantly is, a lot of the NPC members has been with NPC for a long time. So malaki ang influence ng mga members in their own locality.
You said that a lot of the platform of both NPC and the party of Galing at Puso, no?
Galing at Puso.
What would you say would be the top platforms or of government would you say that you like with the Galing at Puso?
George, I'll speak in my behalf, no, personally. I admire Senator's Grace, the advocacy in fighting hunger. No, in our country, 3 in every kids, no, in our school system is malnourished, no? And 1 in every kid in the cities, no, is malnourished. So mataas yung problema natin with malnutrition and hunger. If you go around the countryside, talagang malaki ang problema natin when it comes to food security. And then sa akin, one of the advocacy that I admire with Senator Grace is her advocacy in fighting hunger. And malaking bagay yan because I think in order for us to really move forward, no, as a country, we need to make sure that, no, we fight hunger, all the kids are fed properly, and malnutrition is eliminated in our school system.
Can you just elaborate a little bit, no? Because what causes hunger? I guess to a large extent unemployment,
Poverty.
no? Poverty.
Yes.
But what causes that? Because you have no jobs and things like that.
Right.
So how would you address that issue?
Of course, it's a much more complex problem, ano, because it's really tied up to poverty, very closely linked to poverty. And when you talk about poverty, it's multifaceted. You have jobs, you have economy, you have education, so it's multifaceted. I think you have to approach that with short-term solutions and long-term solutions. Short-term really is to come up with feeding programs, but efficient feeding programs. No? Hindi lang yung papakain ka and then tapos na. No? It has to be efficient in terms of delivery, in terms of technology, in terms of know-how. Long-term really is to create more jobs. No? Invest in agriculture, invest in infrastructure. So these are it has to go parallel, it has to go hand in hand.
What do you think about the 4-piece program of government?
I think all the indicators are pointing that it's doing what it intended to do. Dropout rates has gone down, participation rates in school has gone up, maternal mortality rates has gone down. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. But in terms of reducing poverty, no. No, we can see poverty rates is still the same from where it began in 2010. So we need to wait a little bit more, you know, and see if the program is really going down to the grassroots and reduce poverty.
Are you in favor of continuing the 4-piece po, even sa bagong administration?
Yes, I am in favor of continuing the 4Ps. Like I said, it's too early to say whether it's not effective or effective. At the end, you want to reduce poverty. And there's also an exit for this. Hindi naman to panghabang buhay, no? There must be an exit. And the exit is education, health, and eventually employment.
One of the, I guess, campaign slogans of this current administration for their presidential bet is that kailangan ipagpatuloy natin, ano? Because they're saying that kung hindi siya mananalo, hindi mapapagpatuloy yung maraming magagandang programa ng ating gobyerno. First is, do you agree with that? And then the next thing is, what about this administration do you think you can do better or we can change to, for the better?
Well, the numbers will speak for itself. No, I think the Liberal Party candidate, si Secretary Rojas, is the representation of what should be continued. No, but obviously in the surveys he's not doing so well. No, so I think this is a reflection of what the people think of the continuation of this administration's program. So, of course, we have 2 months to go. Baka the communication might improve, but at this point in time, I think there are other pressing issues that the people want to see improved, and want the next administration to improve. Of course, the good things are there, but with the greater things that are not being discussed, tackled, and addressed, that's what the people wants to see.
In your personal opinion, what would be these issues that needs to be more properly addressed?
Well, in the metro area will be the infrastructure-related problems, no? MRT, LRT,
Mass transport?
traffic, efficient, the quality of life. I think in the countryside, you have agriculture. There's massive drought happening all over the country. Irrigation system is not properly addressed. So I think, in general, there are other things that affects the life of our people on a daily basis that they want to see improvement. And I think the numbers reflect that sentiment.
What is your opinion on the perception of the masses that this administration has selective justice?
Well, I think we have to look at the actions. Maybe we can also look at the cases being filed, cases being investigated. And if you look at the PDAF cases, not everyone
Has been implicated.
Has been implicated. No? Parang huminto na yata sa third batch. But I know if you look at the COA report, there are many more personalities in there. No? What happened to them? No? Unfair naman dun sa nakasuhan, but what happened to those other ones na hindi na ano? We will never know the truth. We will never know whether they are guilty or not. No? They're in the report, but walang nangyaring action. So I think that alone speaks for itself.
Will that be something that you will try to take a look at so that government institutions are not used to
Yes.
harass certain people or certain opponents
Tama,
politically?
Yeah, of course, when you say governance, you're governing the entire nation, and you're trying to lead a nation, not a specific party, not a specific group. And when you run for president, you're the president of everyone. And justice should be applied to everyone. And I think yun ang kakalungkot, especially to sa mga mahirap nating kababayan, because the less fortunate people cannot afford lawyers, cannot
That's right.
afford legal protection.
Yes.
So more so, they're vulnerable to political
Abuse,
harassment and
yeah.
abuse. No?
Yes.
So what we want to demonstrate to everyone is, mayaman ka, mahirap ka, justice
Patas.
will be applied.
Yung, in that connection, talking about governance, what is your position on the Freedom of Information Bill?
I support the FOI. No? I think fight against corruption should be institutionalized. No? And one of the things, or one of the laws that we can use to institutionalize the fight against corruption is the FOI bill.
The Bangsamoro Basic Law also failed to pass the Congress. Were you in favor of BBL? And if not, ano po ba yung nakikita yung solusyon to
Ako,
have
Rachel,
peace?
I'm in favor of a framework that will lead to long-term peace. And that framework should be discussed, consulted thoroughly. BBL has so many constitutional infirmities and maraming controversies also. And kaya rin delay siya. What we want is a framework, whether it's BBL or something else, kasi iba-iba yung pangalan, that is compliant to the Constitution and that is inclusive, no? Meaning everyone has been consulted and their inputs are part of that new framework. And especially the dreams. No? Alam mo, itong BBL is about the dreams and aspirations of our Muslim Mindanao brothers. So, importante na reflected that in that framework.
Talking about the BBL, did you get the impression that all of the parties concerned were properly consulted in that regard, or a lot of them were also excluded, o paano ba yun?
Well, I think nagkaroon ng massive consultation, but I also heard that some groups and some tribes were not consulted. So nagkaroon ngayon ng doubt whether the consultation were really inclusive. But I think this is a good chance for the new administration to relaunch this framework. Hindi naman nasayang Meron tayong basic framework, may CAB tayo, meron tong BBL, hindi naman nasayang. But we can improve on it, we can improve the consultation process, and we can improve the provisions there to make it encompass the dreams and aspirations of the area.
Sa tingin niyo po ba, ano po yung mga provisions doon that should be changed?
One very controversial is yung opt-in provisions. Yeah, that's the most controversial. Creeping expansion kasi yun. And that really became a deal breaker for many of the congressmen. So that one should be corrected.
In terms of the advocacies, that you will try to push for, what would be in your priority? Are there any disadvantaged groups that you think need to be more protected, like for example, people with disabilities, senior? So, how would you handle that?
I think it's hard to prioritize, especially when you talk about marginalized sector. George, sabay-sabay dapat yan. Personally, may isang personal advocacy ako na I want to push when I'm pushing it now, but hopefully push harder in the Senate, is the fight against human trafficking. That's one thing that is not getting a lot of attention here in our country, and kawawa, being Filipinos are global citizens, and marami tayong global citizens are being abused, being naloloko sila, Are
we talking about OFWs, for example?
Whether you're formal or informal, whether you go through the system or behind the system, marami tayong mga kababayan na talagang naloloko, at because of poverty also, they become willing victims. And all of this technology, social media become tools, for abuse and to target our OFWs.
We were talking about earlier about employment generation, and one of the things that I've heard from a lot of businessmen is that we have a difficult business environment in that, first of all, the ease of doing business, we're not so easy to do business here. Next is we have one of the highest costs of electricity in the region. We have the slowest internet speed and probably the highest cost as well. So, I mean, what do you think you will try to do to generate a fertile environment for more businesses to settle here and to have more employment generation?
One proposal that I made was to break up the OTC already, the Department of Transportation and Communication. Break it up into two, one for transportation, one for communication. These are very big disciplines already. Communication alone is a huge discipline, and it's evolving so fast that the focus is totally different from transportation. So, like you said, communication nowadays is very important. If you want to grab the higher value of business process outsourcing, you need to have faster internet. You need to have high technology investment. So, in BPO natin is really, we're getting known for that, and it's giving us a lot of revenue. But we need to move up also. We need to move up the value chain. Creating programs, creating apps. Ito yung potential ng ating bansa.
Well, at this point, we'll have another station break. Makakasama pa rin po natin si Valenzuela 1st District Representative Win Gatchalian. when we return. Thank you very much.